This week I thought I'd answer the questions at the beginning, just for a change. I don't know why. Maybe that would be nice. Louise UK Love on Twitter says, can a non-addict use the steps to better their mental health? I'm not an addict, but I have the mindset of one. I self-medicate by overspending and eating bad food and retreating from the world. My mental health is a daily struggle. Well, yeah, isolation is a big thing in addicts. It's one of the biggest symptoms of addiction, I think. Isolating, taking yourself away from the world so you can use. I used to do that. I would go and I would get drugs in with other people, and then I would squirrel them away and go home to do them. I would never share, and I would just go out purely to get drugs and then take them back home and do them on my own till I was unconscious. It was all about isolation. I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't want anyone interfering with my using experience. I wanted to go inside. I wanted oblivion. I wanted to black out. I wasn't interested in social. So isolation is a big one. And yes, the steps will work for everything you mentioned there, Louise, because food is addictive and you can be addicted to food. And that was my first addiction. Sugar and food, you can use it to fill the hole in the soul. I don't feel good enough. I'm depressed. Food, sugar, but it doesn't work. Like, the hole's still there, but you still use it. That can definitely work. And yeah, overspending, that's money, another addictive thing. Consuming outside things, the house, the clothes, the car, the jewelry, that's in filling the hole in the soul as well. Oh, I must put stuff in this hole, put it in, food, money, stuff. But again, it doesn't work, because this hole inside needs filling with something, and we try food, money, sex, gambling, drugs, alcohol. We try everything to fill it and nothing works. So that's why these steps are a way to fill it also. Sorry, that's the washing machine. Yeah, glamorous, these video shoots. Katrina N. Raider on Twitter says, is there a different book for addicts and alcoholics, or is it the same book? Do you always need a sponsor, or do you become a sponsor after you've reached a certain point of sobriety? There are different versions of the big book, but it's the same message. Everyone uses the same steps. For a sponsor, you need to have a sponsor all the way through, because you need someone to check in your crazy thoughts with. Or I do, and I don't have one at the moment, which is terrible. I really need one. It's good to run your crazy shit past someone so they can say, you're crazy, stop doing that, you're weird. Anyway, on to step 3. Now, remember when we said in step 2 that you can have a higher power of your own understanding for this program to work, and many people that don't believe in religion or don't even believe in God have got multiple years sober. Many atheists have got multiple years sober in this program from just having a higher power of their own understanding. So this step, I think, is where a lot of people see it in the walls in AA meetings. They have the steps on the walls, and sometimes people see this step and it's the one that freaks them out a little bit. And we'll get to that in a minute, but it is. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Now, it's old language, isn't it? As we understood him, and even, the word God in an old-fashioned way might mean, the guy in the sky with the long beard, and some people do believe that, and it helps them in the program. Other people have different higher powers, different concepts, but it's basically anything that isn't you, because our own thinking got us into this crazy addiction in the first place. And for me, no matter what of my own power I used, I couldn't stop. Like, I used all my power. Every bit of power I had, or will, I used to stop drinking and using, wasn't working. And that same will was working in other areas of my life. Like, in my career was really successful. I would set my mind to something and I would go after it, and I would usually achieve it. And my will and my self-power from inside was working great in other areas, but it didn't mean anything to the addiction. I couldn't use it around addiction. It wasn't working. And it was very confusing to me. I couldn't, with self-will, stop. Willpower didn't work. My own willpower, which was working in other areas, had no effect in my addiction, and it was very confusing. I had to make a decision to turn my life over to something that wasn't me, because myself was ruining my life. Self-will wasn't working, and I could see that with all my self-will that I'd applied to addiction, when I look back over the years that I couldn't stop, I tried willpower, I tried my own steam, and time after time after time, it wouldn't work. I would wake up in the morning and say, I'm not going to use today, I'm not going to drink today because I did this terrible thing yesterday, or I'm not going to use or drink today because I've got this important thing I have to do. And it wouldn't work. By the afternoon or that day, I'd be drinking again. So step 3 is about turning my life over to something that isn't my own willpower. And the word God, I used to hear in meetings, people, when they struggle with the God thing, people would say God can mean gift of desperation. I like that one, although I do believe in God, but for some people, the idea of God, G-O-D, gift of desperation, means that they got so desperate that they came into the program, and that act of being so desperate was a God for them because it made them get out of themselves and try something different. An acronym for God is group of drunks. Some people, their higher power is the rooms of AA, or now virtual rooms, but the other people in the group can be a higher power because it's not us, and that's a powerful higher power because it's a lot of people, a group of people together channel something, I think, from up there, because there's something about when 2 or more people come together, that can be an AA meeting. So there's something channeling through a group of drunks that I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something there. This step is all about realizing that when I look back, my own actions and my own thinking just got me drunk, or just got me using food. It's realizing that my own will made me start using shopping, sex, gambling, food, drugs, alcohol. We can use anything addictively. That's one thing that I really wanted to say. My own will got me using all those things to fill this hole in the soul we keep talking about, because I didn't have a higher power to go in there. So I was like, sex, drugs, food, shopping. But it doesn't work. It wasn't working. And then I would just go back to those things because I need to feel better and I want to use these things that aren't working. So it was, like we said before, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So step 3 is just making the decision that I'm not in control. I'm not going to try my own willpower anymore. That's basically, step 3 was that for me. So it was very easy. Step 3, made a decision to turn my will over. Like, I can't do it. I've tried, it doesn't work. So I'm willing to accept the possibility that a higher power can come in and guide me, or just stop me using every day, stop me drinking every day. And once I made that decision, the very next day I didn't drink for the first time. That was day 1. So that's pretty amazing. And I thought, okay, that worked. I used to say in rehab, what does it mean, turn my will and my life over? Does that mean I just stay in bed all day? Like, what do I do then? The guy was like, try it for 1 day, and if it doesn't work, go back to your way. I tried it for 1 day and I didn't drink, so I carried on going. So yeah, that's what step 3 means to me. Handing my will over to a power that isn't me to hopefully behave and act differently and find a new way of acting and a new way of living that doesn't need the constant filling from external things that's got me into so much trouble. I hope that helps. Leave any questions, Stephen Hilton 23 on Twitter, so I can see them all in one place, because I'm a bit stupid and I can't look at all the different social medias to get the questions, so I like to have them all on Twitter because it's easy. So tweet me any questions there, and we'll do step 4 next week. Step 4 is a big one in terms of length, so we might have to split step 4 up into 2, but step 4 is a really interesting one. Step 4 is like where lots of people in the program fall off because it's the first one that you really start digging deep, so it's an interesting step. Anyway, thank you for listening again. I love you guys, and step 4 next week.